If you imagine the dawn of our universe as a brief and brilliant bloom, the secret truth may still lie softly hidden. Let us look past the simple stories of old and find the silent rhythm within the cosmic deep. Just as we once dreamed the world was flat, the Big Bang is not a memory, but a living breath. The distant galaxies we see drifting through the dark are not merely echoes of a vanished light, but space itself flowing in a slow and graceful tide. The universe does not grow larger, but we and all things drift smaller. Let these thoughts wash over you like soft starlight, as we journey back to the mystery of the first beginning. For most of human history, we believed our galaxy was the entire universe. In the 20th century, our view of the vast cosmos took a soft and very unexpected turn. This new era began in the spring of 1920. Within a great debate held by the National Academy of Sciences, two astronomers shared their visions, Heber Curtis and Harlow Shapley. They sought to measure the scale of our home galaxy and those faint, misty veils drifting in the deep sky. The mysterious nature of the distant spiral nebulae. Shapley's vision of our galaxy was close to the truth. Yet those distant spiral clouds remained a silent mystery to him. But Heber Curtis offered signs that these swirling mists were actually whole galaxies, drifting far beyond our own river of stars. He spoke of a strange grace within these distant nebulae, drifting so quickly through the night that no one could explain them. In Europe, Albert Einstein was weaving a new theory of light, one that would soon transform our vision of the endless cosmos. Today we know the universe is filled with swirling galaxies, where each world holds billions of soft and shimmering stars. Within the observable heavens, 100 billion galaxies drift slowly, and perhaps there are many more waiting in the silent dark. Let us feel the immense scale of one such galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy. It is the closest major galaxy to our own silent home. Yet it remains the most distant object visible to the human eye. Across the velvet sky, Andromeda stretches 7 times the width of the moon. But it whispers so softly in light that it remains hidden from view. Looking back to that great debate of 1920, we find a moment of profound and revolutionary meaning. In the quiet decade that followed, a revolution began to unfold, quietly reshaping our place among the stars. Our universe is vast and timeless, a tapestry woven through endless eons. To discover where it all began once seemed like a dream beyond reach. Yet nature provides us with soft whispers of its own mysterious origin. Through the lens of a telescope, we may gaze upon the past, watching events that drifted into being long ago. we find that every drifting particle in this silent cosmos, every single atom, and every living soul are bound together by a single, sacred beginning, connecting us all within the cradle of the deep universe. The first clue to our origin begins with a simple question. How do the distant galaxies move through the silent dark? By understanding how they drift through the heavens today, we may glimpse how they journeyed through the ancient past. Today, we can easily map these celestial movements from any quiet place, seeing their motion captured in glowing displays of starlight. But remember, in the real universe, no divine lens watches from above. Those visions are but dreams created from the whispers of logic. Let us return together to a state of quiet wonder. Imagine you are but a piece of cosmic dust upon the earth. The galaxies you watch move less than a hair's width each year. You may only offer soft guesses as to how they drift. We can imagine three paths for these wandering islands of light. The first path suggests a gentle gathering. All galaxies might be drifting slowly toward our own home. Perhaps gravity is pulling all things into a central embrace, converging everything into one single point of light. The second path suggests a universe that rests in silence, held forever in a state of perfect and eternal balance. The third path suggests a random dance across the sky, where the distance is too great for gravity to hold them. In 1913, at the quiet Lowell Observatory in Arizona, a patient astronomer named Vesto Slipher measured the speed of our neighbor, the Andromeda Nebula. He found it approaching us at 300 kilometers every second. This observation of a single galaxy was but a small clue, yet it seemed to support the first path of gathering. Guided by the invisible hands of gravity, he then looked toward other distant islands of stars, finding some drifting closer while others wandered far away. It seemed then that the third path, a random dance, was true. But soon, as he peered deeper into the infinite night, the pattern began to change once more. He discovered that the vast majority of galaxies were drifting away. This was a strange and beautiful truth, a universe that is forever expanding. By the year 1929, Edwin Hubble discovered the rhythm of this celestial expansion. A galaxy's distance is mirrored by the speed of its departure. The further a galaxy drifts from our watchful eyes, the faster it glides into the deep, dark distance. What could be the cause of such a vast cosmic breadth? At first glance, it seems as though a great event occurred. A quiet bloom of light in the ancient, lonely past. Like a flower opening, all light scattering from a soft source. All matter was cast outward into the waiting silence. The physicist Steven Weinberg once shared a quiet reflection. telling us that no mysterious force pulls the galaxies away. Instead, they drift from the momentum of a distant, radiant bloom. This expansion is the lingering breath of a birth that happened long ago. Many still hold this vision of a celestial firework within their minds. Yet, this dream is not the entire truth. Even then, seekers of the stars felt that something was missing. If the universe were a simple scattering, as we look into the deep night, what we see would depend on which drifting ember we called home. If we resided upon the fastest fragment of starlight, our view would be a strange and lonely one. Looking forward into the path of our journey, we would find only a hollow and silent void. While turning our gaze toward the past, we would see a trail of cosmic dust falling behind us. But this is not the world the telescopes show us. No matter where we look, the galaxies shimmer in a perfect, even balance. Perhaps it is because we rest at the very heart of the bloom. Standing still while the rest of the universe dances away, watching every star retreat in a soft and symmetrical flight. But why would our tiny home be the center of all creation? The logic of the stars whispers otherwise. There is yet another mystery to consider. We would expect light from a central bloom to vanish into the night, never to return, never to be seen again. As light outruns all matter through the endless dark. However, the reality is far more beautiful. We can still hear the softest hum of light, a glow that could only come from the very source of beginning. Amazingly, this ancient and shimmering radiance continues to reach us from every hidden corner of the sky. Think for a moment on how wondrous this is. We see the galaxies drifting apart so quickly, telling a story of a great beginning from a single, distant point. Yet, in whichever direction we choose to look, the tapestry of the stars remains the same, bathed in a uniform glow that defies our simple understanding. If this leaves you lost in thought, you are not wandering alone. Of all the questions in our cosmic journey, this is the one that hums most deeply. It seems that our old ways of knowing cannot explain the visions of Hubble. To imagine the expansion of all things, we need a new language. This emerging truth not only brings light to our observations, but transforms our place within the silent universe. It tells us that galaxies are not moving through space, but that space itself is blooming, stretching the velvet darkness between them. We are witnessing creation in every moment. This birth of the cosmos is not a memory from a forgotten age. The flight of the distant stars is not merely the smoke of a fire that has long since faded. The beginning is happening now, all around us in the silence. unfolding in every breath of time. To understand this beautiful mystery, we must turn the glass of time backward to a different debate beneath a much older sky. This journey was inspired by a brilliant mind, Queen Caroline of Ansbach. Born to a small kingdom, she eventually wore the crown of England, carrying her wisdom through the halls of palaces. In her youth, she studied the world under the gentle guidance of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, with a keen spirit and an endless desire to know the truth. She followed the works of both Isaac Newton and her teacher, Leibniz. She saw that their visions of time and space could never truly meet. In the quiet of the night, only one could hold the key to reality. So, in the year 1715, she wove a bridge of letters between these two giants, seeking a light in the darkness. From this exchange, a soft seed of an idea grew, one that would eventually change how we feel the universe. Born from the whispering words of Leibniz, he argued that while Newton saw space as an absolute stage, space was in fact a relative thing, flowing just as time flows. Let these words wash over you as you release what you think you know. Imagine the world through the eyes of Leibniz. Picture a simple image, a single carriage resting in the void, with nothing else around it but the silence. Could you tell if this was a grand vessel for a king, or merely a tiny, delicate model held within a hand? Without the world around it, its size becomes a beautiful mystery. To truly know, you must compare it to the things that share its space. You might think that a measuring rod placed beside it would reveal the truth of its length. But consider cosmic dust. How would you know if the rod itself was not a miniature? A deeper question begins to drift by. By what measure were you and I created? Along with the rest of the boundless stars? Are we giants in a vast realm, or tiny guests in a celestial dollhouse? If we cannot find a mirror to show us our own scale, then large and small lose their meaning in the dark. And if we follow this thread, one final wonder remains. Is every corner of the universe built to the same scale? Could the length of a rod change as it wanders from star to star? Is it possible that here we are grand, while in another galaxy we are but toys? Does the very scale of the universe shift with the passing of time? Has the world grown twice its size since last year, including the rod we use to measure? For Isaac Newton, the answers were as steady as the starlight. In his quiet certainty, space was absolute, a gift from the divine architect. The measure of a thing remained the same, no matter where it strayed. Its length on the Earth was its length on the Moon. Moving through the void would never cause a thing to shrink or grow. And if you asked why a rod was exactly that long, and not a whisper shorter or longer, Newton would simply answer that it was designed so. From the very beginning, his physics required a reliable and unchanging stage to hold the dance of matter. Against this backdrop, every distance had to be eternal and constant, or the foundation of his world would surely crumble. But Leibniz held a different dream. He believed it was not about what was intended, but what could be felt and measured. To know if you, your world, and your rod had changed. While traveling to the distant moon, you could only know by comparing yourself to the stars. Suddenly, Leibniz drifted into the eternal sleep. Soon after sharing this thought, Isaac Newton's ancient views on the silent fabric of space remained the steady anchor of our world for 300 years. And yet, we would eventually find that Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz was right. His soft ideas, that time and space are never truly fixed, but are instead malleable, stretching like silk. These thoughts would soon emerge again, to touch the minds of those who gazed at the stars. A lonely century drifted past, until within the quiet, brilliant mind of young Bernhard Riemann, this grand and shimmering theory began to take root. Bernhard Riemann dared to question the old, rigid laws of how a line's length might remain unchanged by its position. He softly unveiled the path of non-Euclidean geometry, the deep and intrinsic language of our curved universe. In this realm, an object's length shifts as it wanders through space. In such a dreamlike world, a simple car resting in one place, if moved across the vast and silent reaches, it might transform into something as small as a toy. This was the mathematics of Bernhard Riemann that guided Albert Einstein. A decade later, the great mathematician faded into the quiet of eternal sleep, yet the mathematical foundation he built for that grand theory would live on through the changing seasons. Finding a home in the fertile mind of Albert Einstein. As the 19th century drew to a close, wondrous discoveries led us to a truly breathtaking conclusion: that an object's size is shaped by its location and speed. The most profound of these revelations involve the most common of mysteries, the nature of light. It was realized that light possesses a strange and lovely paradox. To every observer, light drifts through space at a constant speed, remaining unchanged, no matter how fast one might be moving. This truth is the silent heartbeat of the theory of relativity. Can you feel the weight of this mysterious reality? No matter how fast you chase a beam of soft starlight, it still glides away at its own steady, eternal pace. This riddle was solved by Albert Einstein and Hendrik Lorentz. Their quiet labors reached a peak in 1905, blossoming into what we now call special relativity. This vision asked us to let go of old certainties, the idea that time and length are the same for everyone. We must believe that for two souls in motion, time flows differently. None could have ever truly imagined that speed could change the very length of things. Yet this is how the divine architect designed the world. The more you ponder this, the more magical it becomes. Every new secret of the cosmos and every shift in our understanding flows from the strange and beautiful behavior of light. I cannot help but wonder if among the many lives drifting across the stars, perhaps only we humans are so unique. To ponder questions that lie far beyond our daily lives and glimpse the deepest secrets of this infinite universe. The discovery by Albert Einstein in 1905 was merely a soft and silent prelude. Physics exists as a shimmering web where every concept remains deeply intertwined, and when one pillar begins to sway, the others descend like soft leaves in the autumn wind. Relativity was a profound shift, swaying the foundations of this delicate celestial art, and Albert Einstein sought to heal the fractures, weaving a new and luminous model for gravity. He envisioned a map that embraced the strange dance of starlight and all its quiet, lingering consequences. Albert Einstein once whispered that these difficult mysteries should never deter our wandering hearts. For 10 long and meditative years, he sought to unify space, time, and matter within one single framework, reflecting the conservation of eternal energy. It is hard to imagine the weight of this task. Before this moment, the theories of scholars and their models of our flowing world had been supported by centuries of observation. Supported by many centuries of careful and patient observation, the laws of Isaac Newton and his gravity were built upon an ancient foundation of watching the moving stars, which could not be easily shaken. Yet Albert Einstein lacked these familiar earthly resources. Nature and the laboratory offered him no helping hand. The world around him seemed to whisper only of the views held by Isaac Newton and Euclid. No matter where you choose to measure, a single meter remains a meter. Instead, Albert Einstein followed the soft light of his own intuition, beauty, and deep faith in the cosmos. A distant quasar softly pulses across billions of years. While developing his dreaming theory, the mathematical work of Bernhard Riemann became his guiding star. Riemannian geometry was the exact language that Albert Einstein needed to describe the velvet darkness. Finally, in the golden autumn of 1915, the model of celestial gravity was finally complete. When a new model emerges, we look for the relationship between its silent and fundamental parts. For Albert Einstein, these were mass, length, and time. In the older world of Isaac Newton, these elements shared no secret connection and remained entirely independent from one another. Velocity was simply velocity, and time was simply time. According to the old laws, the space and time around you would never change, regardless of your mass. But Albert Einstein saw a deeper truth. He found that mass, length, and time are beautifully linked. Mass causes the length and the flow of time to shift. The greater the mass, the deeper the cosmic change. This new and elegant model was simple in its heart, yet it lived within complex equations that were difficult to solve. Few souls at the time could truly understand how to apply this whisper of genius to the world. Though it would one day be hailed as a masterpiece, it remained for a moment just a quiet curiosity. Spiral galaxies turned slowly in the eternal silence of night. The first test of this model was not performed by the great man himself, but by an unlikely scholar. Working within the most difficult circumstances, Carl Schwarzschild first envisioned the silent radius of a black hole. His first task was to calculate the orbit of Mercury. Isaac Newton had explained the paths of all the planets, except for this one small, swift world. Mercury is the closest planet to our glowing sun, and its movement showed a tiny, mysterious deviation from predictions. The difference was less than 1%, yet even this small whisper could not be ignored by the curious mind. Could the model of Albert Einstein explain this mystery? Carl Schwarzschild found a precise and elegant solution. Just days before the quiet Christmas of 1915, he wrote to Albert Einstein from the cold of the battlefield. He wrote of how wonderful it was that such an abstract theory could explain the wandering path of Mercury. This was the first sign that this abstract model truly mirrored the real and vast world. Schwarzschild soon turned to a second cosmic question. He calculated how a massive sphere like our Earth alters the surrounding space and time. His findings revealed that Leibniz and Bernhard Riemann were correct all along. The universe is not built upon a single scale, and the length of a line depends on where it rests. Every object, a ruler, an atom, or a person, shrinks as it drifts closer to the heavy heart of Earth. This work laid the foundation for our understanding black holes and provided the logic for our modern global positioning systems. Though he is gone, his name remains written among the soft and distant stars. The soft curving of space, as calculated by Schwarzschild, can now be observed within the silent heavens. This truth has been confirmed through the discovery of gentle ripples, known as gravitational waves, drifting through the dark. Even now, these invisible currents are drifting softly through your very being. They gently stretch and pull your form in a slow and rhythmic celestial dance. Yet this motion is so faint and subtle that it remains hidden from our waking senses. In this silence, we must pause and ask, What is the meaning of this cosmic design? Why would the great architect allow time and space to bend and sway so gently? Its purpose was never to merely shift the path of wandering Mercury, to confuse our minds, or to challenge the signals of our navigation systems. Of course, the cosmos requires no reason for the wonders it weaves. But if you seek a deeper meaning, the stars will whisper an answer of profound and stirring beauty, held within the quiet starlight. The truth is this: if space and time did not curve, then you and I would never have been born. We would simply not exist within the night, lost in a void without form. This curving of space, where matter shapes reality, is the secret way the universe allows itself to bloom. The relativity of Albert Einstein predicted three strange mysteries within our natural world, so mysterious and so haunting, that even Albert Einstein himself could not believe them. These three secrets were black holes, dark energy, and our journey today. The expanding universe, stretching out into the eternal calm. In 1916, Albert Einstein applied his vision of gravity to the entire cosmos. If we imagine the universe as a calm, an uniform sea of matter and energy, then in such a peaceful space, what would happen to the flow of time? Specifically, as the long ages pass by, would the measurement of distance begin to change? Does the universe remain at a constant size, or does its scale drift with the passing centuries? Perhaps you may feel that the stars are scattered unevenly through the dark, with clusters of silent galaxies here and vast voids everywhere else. But if you could imagine a space vast enough, a quiet realm 100 million light years across, then from that height, it would seem that the universe flows with a perfect, even harmony, drifting through the infinite in a peaceful and unending sleep, just as air molecules blend into a soft stillness. The universe appears perfectly uniform and serene, yet, when the gravity models of Albert Einstein were applied to this silent, ideal cosmos, through a long series of quiet calculations, they whispered a truth that was both simple and deeply unsettling. The model predicted that the very scale of the eternal cosmos would shift, drifting through the currents of time. We must now prepare for a new realization, one that transforms our cosmic perspective. The changing length of the vast universe is not what you might imagine. It is not a violent burst of fire, scattering light into the lonely dark. Imagine, if you will, a simple form, a silent cube floating within this vision, representing a wide reach of model space, filled with matter drifting in perfect harmony. Now, place a soft, silver ruler beside this image, marked with 10 gentle lines of measure. Let us call this our cosmic ruler. Suppose the height of our cube begins at exactly 1 cosmic ruler. The theories of Albert Einstein predict that as the ages slowly pass, this ruler will begin to shrink. The ruler that once held 10 marks now finds itself divided into 20. It is not that the space has grown, but that the ruler has become small. As the river of time flows forward, the original cube eventually measures to cosmic rulers in height. We see this and feel that the height of this space has quietly doubled, and its volume has expanded 8 times over. Remember this truth: space does not expand. Rather, the ruler of our reality is withering away. And so the volume within that silent cube appears 8 times more vast than before. It is a thought that feels almost like a dream. The simplified models of Albert Einstein reveal that the universe is continuously dreaming up more space. This new, quiet space emerges because the very scale of length is fading. There is no violent bloom hurling galaxies into the distant night. Nor is there any cosmic force, only the silent and relentless appearance of new, empty heavens. If we were to drift within such a model, what wonders would we see? Imagine our Milky Way resting in one soft corner of this cosmic cube. We look across the velvet darkness toward a distant galaxy in the opposite corner. We would observe that far-off island of stars drifting away from us. The reason is simple: the distance between us is continuously breathing and growing. The further a galaxy resides, the faster it seems to retreat. Because in the vastness between us, more and more space is quietly emerging. Let this thought linger. This is the most vital secret of our journey through the stars. Those distant galaxies are not flying through space at incredible speeds. Rather, the space between us and them is being born anew. But why do we not feel this growth within our solar system or even the Milky Way? It is because the cube we describe represents a reach of space so incredibly vast, stretching at least 100 million light-years. Within this scale, our entire galaxy is but a single, shimmering dust mote. Within this vast image, you cannot even see a pocket of space the size of our Earth, which expands only by a single hair each year. Imagine a change so small it takes a year. Who would ever notice such a faint whisper? Yet, you must look at every pocket of space, drifting and expanding at this same steady rhythm. Consider for a moment the immense distances that lie between the galaxies, where these tiny influences slowly gather their strength until galaxies appear to recede at breathtaking speeds. The further a galaxy drifts from our sight, the more this silent expansion begins to accumulate. For those stars far beyond our reach, they retreat even faster than the speed of light. The soft light they send will never reach our distant shores. They remain hidden, beyond our ability to observe. We dwell within a lonely bubble called the observable universe. This is a mystery that the old model of a simple bloom could never explain. No matter how powerful that ancient bloom, it could not hurl a galaxy faster than light. For that would defy the laws of relativity. But the gathering expansion across the deep void allows this celestial dance to be understood. Let us now softly reflect upon the expanding universe, a phrase whispered for nearly a century, though it carries a subtle and drifting misunderstanding. One might often wonder, what does the universe expand into? Does this new space push something else away? The truth is, it expands into nothing at all. For it does not stretch outward, and there is no horizon to cross. You may have heard of common metaphors, a loaf of rising bread, filled with starlit raisins, or a balloon swelling with a silent breath. But these stories are also slightly flawed, because they use the same scale before and after. These tales forget Albert Einstein's gentle truth, that the scale of the cosmos changes with time. The cube of space does not simply stretch. To describe it with precision, we call it inward expansion. Think of it this way: the universe does not grow outward. Rather, everything within its silent walls, including our very measures, is slowly shrinking. It is like a wanderer, touched by a strange and distant light, beginning to shrink with every passing moment. At first, he feels like a captive in his own home. But as he continues his infinite journey downward, his home becomes a vast and boundless universe. Of course, this is still just a dreamlike story, meant to help you feel the cosmic flow. Albert Einstein himself spent many years doubting his own silent discoveries. Had he believed his own truth from the start, he would have spoken the greatest prophecy in history. He could have announced that the scale of the cosmos breathes with time. Instead, what truly happened was, he felt his own beautiful conclusions were far too strange to be real. The space around us seemed so still and deep, it felt impossible for space to flow. So Albert Einstein added a small term to his elegant and silent equations. He believed that in doing so, he could silence the instability of space and erase the prophecy of a changing universe. This addition is known as the cosmological constant. Later, Albert Einstein admitted with a sigh that he felt forced to add that extra term, the silent cosmological constant. But this was merely a dream of mathematics, unproven by the soft touch of our experience. It existed only to keep the matter in a static embrace, decided by the fact that stars drift so slowly. In other words, since we could not see the stars rushing away, we chose to believe in a universe at rest. Many long years passed by before Albert Einstein called this decision the greatest mistake of his journey. Later, in his final reflections on the general theory, Albert Einstein let the cosmological constant fade away. He accepted the slow expansion of space, as he had no other path to follow. Looking back today, we marvel at how scholars could ever predict the silent, drifting expansion of our cosmos. One might imagine scientific change as a sudden storm across our world. However, those who study the stars remain patient and deeply cautious of every new whisper, for extraordinary wonders require profound and lasting evidence. The shifting of our collective mind can be a slow, quiet journey. Once, Albert Einstein questioned his own drifting thoughts and Edwin Hubble's lonely observations. Those distant flickers of light might have held other secrets or hidden truths. His heart whispered to him that the universe was constant and still. Yet his own equations sang of a living, changing sky. The vast heavens we see now were once gathered into a single point, where the density of matter was infinite, and time itself dissolved into the velvet silence. There, the elegant mathematics began to fail, unable to describe our physical reality. When all measures reach for the infinite, we call this a singularity. But today we understand the place where the great bloom began is exactly where you are resting now. It is happening in this very moment, within every corner of existence. Because every silent space was once part of that tiny, infant light. Every particle within your soul, and every shimmering star in the deep night, were once held in a close, warm embrace. In our time, the great bloom is no simple story, nor a passing dream, nor a whispered guess. It is a truth supported by endless rivers of evidence. Since this vision was first seen through Albert Einstein's eyes, it has withstood every test of the passing years. Eventually, these deep reflections were softened into a simpler tale for all to hear, becoming the story of the great bloom that we all know. Yet the wandering mind asks, where did this light bloom into? What lies beyond the edge? I hope tonight you might feel two simple truths. First, the word burst is only a clumsy, human metaphor. The universe did not bloom outward, for there is no outside to find. If a divine lens watched from the silent, eternal dark, it would see all things shrinking softly as new space is born between them. This change is so subtle, it drifts beyond our sight. But over the vast reaches of the cosmic river, these tiny ripples gather into a grand, shimmering tapestry. Galaxies far away glide from us faster than light. In truth, they are not fleeing, but the distance between us is simply breathing. As the silent void grows, ever so gently, becoming a masterpiece of eternal starlight, Thank you for drifting, and may your thoughts wander through the stars.